Hello everybody and welcome back to another Farming Simulator 22 how-to video. Today we're going to talk about the only crop in Farming Simulator 22 that you can't actually harvest. But before that, this video is brought to you by Frank Muse. Thank you for being a farm baron. So we're going to talk about oilseed radish today. The only crop in Farming Simulator 22 that you can't actually harvest. Let's take a look at all the crops available to us here in Farm Sim 22. Wheat, barley, canola, oat, corn, sunflowers, soybeans, potatoes, sugar beet, sugarcane, cotton, sorghum, grapes, olives, and grass are all crops that we can plant and harvest to some extent. Oilseed radish? Nuh-uh. That serves another purpose, and that is the exact purpose of this video today. Now we're over here on field 34, just north of the shop. And I wanted to demonstrate to you that this field has no fertilization associated with it, as you can see here. And I have my trusty X7 McCormick and a Dalbo Maxi Roll 630 green line with seeding option. And I'm using this just for some sake of being different, because this particular implement allows me to seed either grass or oilseed radish. Now let's talk a little bit about oilseed radish. Oilseed radish's main purpose is to be a cover crop. It would be planted, let's say, in the fall after your harvest, after you've done potentially some field work, and it's going to grow. And its whole purpose in life and to be planted is to grow, and then at some point in the spring, you're going to come through with a cultivator, power harrow, disc, plow, whatever, and you're going to work it into the soil. So oilseed radish is never going to be in a harvestable state. It's always going to be in a growing state. And its sole purpose in life is to be worked back down into the soil. And as a result, you're going to get a fertilization layer out of the act of cultivating it back down in the soil. So let's take a look at the shop. Let's go to our seeders, and we're going to see that pretty much every seeder is going to do oilseed radish, which is this icon right here. Every single one of these has the ability of seeding oilseed radish. We take a look at our rollers. Rollers are no. We take a look at grassland care. Our grassland care can put down oilseed radish with our APV and the Dalbo Maxi Roll, which is what we're going to be using. Planters do not have the ability to do oilseed radish in general. So what I'm going to do now is, well, I'm going to go ahead and just use this roller to seed oilseed radish across this field. Now, one thing that you're going to notice is that these kind of auxiliary seeders in weeders and grassland care, they typically hold a very small amount of seed. This one, for example, holds just 250 liters of seed. But you can also see that we are going through that seed very slowly. We've gone through 8 liters of seed in one pass. So I'm going to go ahead and seed this entire field, and I'll let you know how many liters of seed we have used. Overall, this is a fairly economic way of providing fertilization to your fields kind of during the off season, because the fact that you go through such little seed compared to the cost of solid fertilizer or liquid fertilizer, or the amount of time and the cost of manure spreaders or slurry spreaders. Like I said, this can become a very effective and a very cost-effective, I should say, way of getting that initial fertilization state. So while I'm waiting for AI to plant this field, I was taking a look at this thing. It's really cool. So we've got a wheel down here that is making contact with this roller. And as a result, when it's moving along the field, it is connected to this cable, which goes up to this green thing, which goes up to the seed hopper. You can see now it's not making contact. And then when this wheel is rotating, something is obviously causing the seed hopper to dispense the seed, and the seed's going down these green tubes to these metal things, which look like they are kind of like seed spreaders. And in theory, they are then spreading the seed in front of the roller, which is then rolling the seed into the ground. So I was just looking at that and I was thinking, that's pretty cool. Interesting how that's all designed, and of course it's all modeled here on this implement. So we've got the entire field now seeded in oilseed radish. You see we have 141 liters of seed left. Remember, we started out with 250 liters of seed. So we've used a total of 109 liters of seed. Not too bad for our little field down here. Take a look at the field status now. You're going to see that we do indeed have oilseed radish in the field. And if we come over here, you're going to see that it is still unfertilized. Now, if you think about how much that cost us, we used 109 liters of seed. So here I have seed in big bag form, $800 per 1,000 liters. That is 80 cents per 1,000 liters. So that means that we spent $87 worth of seed to put oilseed radish down on this field. Would we have spent $87 or less of fertilizer to fertilize this field? It's hard to say. We also probably should try to run into some calculations on fuel used and wear and tear on the machinery, yada, yada, yada. But at any rate, the whole purpose of oilseed radish is to emulate what a farmer might do in the fall. After they have worked the soil, they plant oilseed radish for the sole purpose of soil conservation, to combat soil erosion. So there's a crop in there with roots, hold the soil, and then in the spring, they plow it under. The plant matter of the oilseed radish then gets incorporated with the soil and provides a fertilization benefit. So let's go ahead and see what this oilseed radish looks like once it's had a chance to grow. Exactly 1 month has passed since we were last together. Just feels like it was moments ago, doesn't it? But at any rate, we now see what oilseed radish looks like after it has had a chance to grow. You'll notice down in the information screen it says ready to harvest. So our oilseed radish is now ready to harvest. But the only way to harvest oilseed radish, interesting enough, is with a cultivator, a plow, subsoiler, disc harrow, or power harrow. Because, baby, we are working this down into the ground. So let's go ahead and get started doing that. And we're going to see the net effect is we're going to get one layer of fertilizer as a result of putting this down into the ground. This crop will not grow anymore. It is done growing after 1 month. We can let this thing sit here for an entire year if we want. It's not going to change. I'm going to go ahead and just hire a helper for consistency's sake. We can see we are basically working this down into the soil. We're using a shallow cultivator. That's why we're getting this exact texture here. And if we look at our information screen, you see we're getting stubble tillage. That's a result of using our shallow cultivator. And we are getting a single state of fertilization. Ignore this little tidbit down here. Ignore that little tidbit down here. But we are basically getting a single stage of fertilization as a direct result of working our oilseed radish down into the ground. And that is the exact sole purpose for oilseed radish. Takes 1 month to grow. So you can look at your growth calendar if you're using seasonal growth. Got that turned off, but if we're using season, let me turn it back on. So if you're using seasonal growth, you can look at your growth calendar here, and you could say, well, you know, if I wanted to plant oats, but I also wanted to do oilseed radish to get that fertilization bonus in January or some point before January, I should have oilseed radish in the ground. It will grow into February, and then I can work it into the soil in February, or I can work it into the soil in March and seed in March. So that is, in theory, what you can do with respect to oilseed radish and why it exists in the game. So let me know if this has helped you in any way with respect to what on earth is oilseed radish and why can't I ever seem to harvest it with any sort of harvester? Well, the answer is you're not supposed to. You're supposed to dig it and put it right back down in the ground where it belongs. So until next time, happy farming.